Morning, everybody. So here's a new one for you. Do you pressure wash your engine when you take it in through like a Blue Beacon truck wash? Um, there's different schools of thoughts about cleaning the engine. The first one is that the drive-through wash facility will tell you it doesn't do any harm, and while they're washing the truck, they pressure wash your engine. And you have a nice clean engine. Oh, that sounds great. But the second school of thought is that don't pressure wash your engine. That the best way to clean your engine is a technique they call like dry cleaning, which means that you're not going to use a pressure washer. What you're going to do is you're going to take different types of brushes, a wire brush or just cleaning brushes.
You have received a new message.
And most of the dirt and grime that accumulates
You have received new messages
on your engine can easily be brushed away. So no need to apply water. Just get in there with a brush and brush it away. That is considered like dry cleaning your engine. And then after you brushed it away, you take something like a vacuum cleaner and try to accumulate all that debris that you loosened up with the brushes, or you can take a leaf blower and blow it off. Either or. Once that layer of grime is removed, then you can go in with things like Armor All wipes, or even Armor All spray, and clean up all the rubber hoses and things that are plastic and things like that Armor All could apply to. You can even take something as simple as a toothbrush to get into tight spots, and loosen up debris that way. But the idea of dry cleaning is you're going to avoid using water. Now, in some cases, you can use water with a sponge, and you would apply water carefully to those components that are not electrical. See, the issue is that when you use a pressure washer, you're hosing down the engine. The primary issue is that all your electrical connections are water resistant, but they're not waterproof. And then when you apply water under pressure, that water is being forced into those connectors, and once your engine is dried, there's still water that remains inside those connectors that could corrode. That could lead to mysterious fault codes, for example, or intermittent wire issues. And you can never find what the root cause of those are. It's just like you think your truck is a piece of junk, you've done everything to take care of it, you washed it regularly, and you got electrical problems. That could be a result of pressure washing your engine. A better way to do it would be dry clean your engine and use a sponge. And if you're going to use any water at all, use a sponge and carefully clean those connectors without putting water into those connectors under the pressure of a pressure washer. So that's the primary difference. Now, I have another opinion, that you shouldn't take a hot engine that's over 200 degrees, and then apply cold water. The water may be 75 degrees, but the temperature differential is over 100 degrees difference in temperature between your hot engine and that even room temperature water. That is putting a shock onto your metal block of your engine. And you're like, well, the engine can take it. I mean, that thing's a big chunk of iron. It can withstand it. But if you understand thermodynamics and heat transfer, that is a rapid heat transfer from something that's over 200 degrees to water that's less than 100 degrees. And metal will expand and contract according to the temperature. Hot, it'll expand, and cold, it'll contract. And when you throw that cold water on there, it'll contract rapidly. And you say, well, that, the engine can handle it. Well, if you end up having problems, It could be a result of pressure washing your engine, especially when it's hot. When you look at things like gaskets and liners, and fittings, and all this stuff, when they're under heat, all this stuff expands and makes a tight seal. And then you give it a shock treatment of something cold, the metal contracts, but maybe the gaskets and other rubber components or plastic components aren't contracting evenly, so things start leaking, so I think that there's a lot of problems associated with pressure washing your engine. Now, I will do it maybe once or twice a year if the engine gets extraordinarily dirty, like maybe in the spring and maybe in the fall. And when I do it, the engine's not overly hot. It's, for example, I just started the truck. I took it right to the blue beacon within like 5 minutes, for example. If I'm waiting in line, I shut it off. I just keep that engine temperature as low as I can get it. And so I don't put it under a lot of duress when that pressure washer hits that hot engine. The engine's not overly hot. That's how I like to do it. And I only do it maybe once or twice a year. I may not do it at all. Now, when the DOT lays down a lot of salt and they lay down a lot of brine for road conditions, that salt and brine gets into your engine compartment. And that could do more damage than if you did pressure washing. So it's not a bad idea to use the pressure washer to get all that salt and brine off the engine. But keep in mind that excessive pressure washing your engine is probably not a good practice. You probably want to keep it to a minimum and use other techniques to keep your engine clean. I think if you were careful about it, then you can minimize some of the breakdowns and some of the unsolvable electrical issues. That could be the result of pressure washing your engine. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the internet.